stress. One of the most mundane and routine things any company or any workforce could ever do. Hey, what did you do this week? Really simple, huh? What's fascinating is how offended liberals and Democrats got over this one, and the corporate press. It's fascinating because he's not asking for anything out of the ordinary. These people literally live their lives working jobs where they do not answer emails or communicate at all with the office. You had one video, I think it was Loeffler, was in the office. It's like, it's Friday afternoon, take a look, and the entire office is empty. No one was there. And these it's remarkable to me. These Democrats are talking about remote work and how they want slavery. They're going to force you to be in the office. It's called having a job. You know, let me tell you about remote work. It's bad. Some things can be done remotely. There's a task, A plus B equals C, get it done. But most high-level work requires collaboration. And so, I gotta tell you, I go downstairs. Here's how we ended up ordering a Pop-Tarts. I know you're thinking, wait, what is it? You ordered 1,000 Pop-Tarts. Bear with me, because we're going to be filming a video. It'll be fun. That makes images. As it turns out, because they're illegal in Europe, some of our European friends are Pop-Tarts for the first time. So how did it happen? We were hanging out downstairs, mentioning, joking about family living, and then some comments were made. Someone said Pop-Tarts are illegal. And holy crap, they're illegal in Europe. Not they're illegal, but that because of the regulations, they don't produce or sell them. I'm still getting them expensive shops. But we thought it was hilarious, so I ordered a bunch, and I said, let's make a video where we eat a bunch of Pop-Tarts. I mean, they're delicious, but still. The point is, being there next to each other and joking around and having community helped us come to bring these ideas. Now that's silly, but it's masterful when you look at rocketry. There's that famous video where Elon is talking to some YouTuber, and the YouTuber's, he's like, we don't need cold gas, we have hot gas, and the guy's like, yeah, but that's just the booster, right? And then Elon goes, well, that's a good point, why do we? I'm going to change that. That interaction of just a question ignited an idea in Elon said he knows it. So this excuse about remote work, they are lazy people who don't want to do the job. So, goodbye. Here's the story. They say the rift emerged on Sunday between Trump's agency heads and Musk after leaders of the FBI, Pentagon, State Department, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Energy instructed staff not to reply. Some managers, including the Department of Health and Human Services, instructed workers to comply with the request on the list of 5 accomplishments, blah, 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 and not to wait. Extremely troubling that some parts of government think it is too much. Musk tweeted on Sunday, what is wrong with them? Senior officials work to provide employees guidance on how they should proceed. Kash Patel said, pause. Interesting. The emails thrust the Defense Department into chaos over the weekend as they try to determine what to tell employees about how to respond. Multiple senior officials told CNN. I got no problem. Now, we're hearing, Tulsi said, don't respond. We got the story from The Independent. Another member of Trump's inner circle rebels. Tulsi Gabbard joins Kash Patel and the DOD and instructing employees not to respond. I really don't care. There are people saying like, signs of power struggles emerge in D.C. No. Spare me, dude. Elon is doing these light maneuvers off the cuff to just test whether or not people are working.
I need gas money, but I don't get paid till next week. What should I do?
Don't even stress about it. Just download the internet to get...
And I gotta tell you, it's brilliant. He's got a bunch of these tactics and techniques, but let me just stress, how much you want to bet there are thousands of federal employees getting a paycheck and doing nothing. I mean, literally. I was reading this story on Reddit where this guy said that he worked in a satellite office for his company. So they had a main HQ, and then they had a satellite office somewhere in the suburbs so that they could take clients and do things like that. It's easier, right? You have your main headquarters if you're not in the city. They say, we'll get a lot of clients in this area. They can drive there, drop things off, and we can facilitate them. When the company management changed, something happened. They decided to stop using the satellite office, and so they basically shut it down, but never provided instruction to this one guy. So he asked them, what's going on with this change? And they said, just stay tuned and we'll let you know. So he shows up at the office and he's the only one there. They still have the property, they're still renting it, but nobody works there anymore. He's sitting in the office, nobody responds. His boss is the guy who runs the office is now working somewhere else and is no longer his boss. He never gets an update. And he's like, I'm sitting here, I've been getting paid for months and they've never given me instruction and I don't know who to email or what to do. So I largely just play Civilization on my computer. video game. That probably exists all over government. I don't blame the guy, and I gotta be honest, it's funny when you read that story, because if you read it as an employee or as a general worker, you're probably going like, whoa, dude's getting a freebie. He gets to get paid and do nothing. Ha 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 ha. I gotta be honest, as a business owner, I think one of two possibilities. There is a possibility that a large company just didn't realize they left a guy there and he's getting paid. That's possible. Seriously, with a large company, that's why they bring in consultants, right? I gotta be honest, I kind of think they know he's there, but you need to have someone occupying the building because you don't want it to be empty. So they were like, just leave some guy there, who cares what he does, we need a body in the office, we'll see what happens. I think that's probable, but I don't know, maybe they just forgot about it. But the point is this: the way the federal government works, the way they just pay things out, the way it is so broken and corrupt, I'm willing to bet there are thousands of people. They're like, let's say there's a director of, invoicing, payments, and ingestion or whatever, right? And his job is like, we send out payments, we take in payments, and we manage the accounts. He hires 2 people to work beneath him. He's told, like, look, hire some people, facilitate this. He says, okay, you got it. Then one day, I don't know, he does something untoward, let's keep it family friendly, and he gets fired. And the government doesn't know or care about the federal employees that are working beneath him in his department. They don't want to deal with unions. They don't know, they don't care, not their money, so they just forget about it. The person who had hired the guy who got fired, they move on somewhere else, and these 2 people are just sitting there being like, what do we do? We're getting paid, and we're doing nothing. We have no one to report to. Now think about this. It's the government, which means it's not the same as a private company where profits matter. They're in the government. They go to someone in their union and say, hey, our boss is gone, there's no one to report to. They go, well, hang tight, because they can't fire you for no reason. Like, yeah, but we have no job. Like, we're not doing anything. And they're like, we'll figure it out. Sorry, I got too much to deal with, and a couple of employees with no real problem is not something I want to deal with. So these 2 guys sitting in an office start playing video games, and they're like, honestly, dude, I have no idea what we're doing. And they walk out of the house and they go, hey, like, our boss got fired, what do we do? And they were like, not my problem. No profit, doesn't matter. The United States government may as well effectively be the largest ingestion of capital on the planet. And they're just like, literally nobody cares about your salary, dude. It is a rounding error in the GDP of the United States, and nobody wants to take time out of the day to solve your problem. So Elon says, answer your emails. And a couple of guys who stopped and are just playing video games all day because they have no real tasks don't get the emails and don't respond. So what happens? There's going to be, with all these emails responding, they can do a simple one-for-one comparison. We sent out 50,000 emails, we got back 37,000. Isolate the 13, let's follow up and do performance reviews on them. And it's going to turn out several thousand were out of the office, maternity leave, vacation, whatever, and several thousand don't actually work there anymore, but are still collecting paychecks. And that is the point. So here we are. Everyone's screaming and crying about Elon, but let me make it clear for you. Make it as clear as I can. Starbucks lays off 1,100 corporate employees as coffee chain streamlines. John Deere confirms more than 100 layoffs at Ann Kenny location. CBS News, Dallas-based Southwest Airlines cutting 15% of corporate workforce. From IT Pro, tech layoffs have already topped 26,000 in 2025. Let me just stress, these stories are all from right now. The AP story was from this morning. The John Deere story was from yesterday afternoon. CBS News story was from yesterday afternoon. And the Tech Pro story, the IT Pro story, the Tech Pro, is from 4 hours ago. So have you heard anyone crying over these layoffs? Have any of the Democrats come out and said, it is terrible what is happening to these poor Starbucks workers? No? It's a lie. What's actually happening is the free ride is over. Elon Musk posted this meme. It's SpongeBob looking down at a list confused and says, got done last week. Cried about Trump. Cried about Elon. Made it into the office for once. Read some emails. Cried about Trump and Elon some more. Indeed. Trump deploys SpongeBob meme to troll Doge critics. Trump shared the meme on Truth Social shortly after Musk shared it on X. I'm really enjoying enjoying the meme warfare from the administration. They posted ASMR deportation. We're having a good time, folks. We're having a good time. Boy, are they losing their minds. What's really funny, guys, I just want to say the word vindication. I am so excited to get some of these liberals on Timcast IRL with the Culture War podcast, because I'm seeing all of these subreddits for liberal shows where they're like, civil war is coming, Donald Trump is taking over the government and firing all the checks and balances, and he's seizing authority. And I'm like, civil war, you say, huh? There's so many of these. I posted some of them. They're like, this clearly ends in civil war. There's no other way. And I'm like, oh. So all of these people, when I said this years ago, a year ago,
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. So if something happens to your tire on the road, we'll fix it, or we'll replace it, no questions asked. Other places make you pay extra for that kind of protection, but at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires, because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from less.
Look, when it comes to running a small business, I'm the creative director. Just a little bit to the right. The videographer, the lighting technician.
Trump takes office, either it is limp-wristed and nothing gets done, or he does what he says he's going to do, and the left is going to lose their mind, and we are on track for a civil war. Nothing has changed in that regard. The escalation is only before us. But my point has always been, not that the right is going to get in the streets and go nuts. Possibility was there. And I do believe high-level instigation would likely come from the right. What I mean to say with that is, any kind of shot heard around the world moment, such as the Battle of Lexington and Concord. Well, we don't actually know who fired first, but it wasn't the Loyalists. My point here is, liberals are now seeing everything Trump is doing and claiming the only thing that can be done is civil war. These same people told me I was wrong, that Trump wasn't. It's wild, because I was talking to Sam Cedar, and he's like, you think of civil war? And I was like, what if Trump does X? He goes, well, I mean, if he does that. I'm like, do you think Trump will do the things he's saying he's going to do? He's like, well, I mean, he might. And I'm like, and if Trump does the things you claim are fascistic, you're saying no one is gonna stop him? And he's like, well, I mean, and I'm like, so you think there is a possibility? Well, I guess. I'm like, spare me, bro. Now it is all the liberals and leftists on these subreddits saying civil war's coming. Not that I know for sure, but I think we are looking at something truly tremendous. This is the administrative civil war. That's what they've called it. Does the deep state take this lying down? The reality is, I don't think any real Americans support the deep state in this way. And it's all socked up with fake garbage. You go and talk to a regular person, like, what's wrong with firing these people? Yeah. They're like, I know people get fired all the time. Why are these people sacred? Indeed. So I don't know if there's actually going to be a civil war, because I think it may be over. But my friends, I suppose as time often says, you can only wait and see. So smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. We got more segments coming up. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all in the next segment.
Joy Reid of MS-13 DNC has been fired, and the million-dollar question is, who's going to replace her? What does this mean for the network going forward? Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Joy Reid of MS-13 DNC being fired by the network. Now, her show, The Readout, had been a quote-unquote fixture on MS-13 DNC, MSNBC, whatever you want to call it, for the past 5 years. Now, they say the ratings are not really good. How do kids say? The money is not moneying, so they went ahead and let her go. I say, good riddance. It's about time. Sayonara, off Peter Jane. However I can say goodbye in all of the world languages, I can say it right now. This is a good decision, in my humble opinion. And also, furthermore, if I was in control of things over at MSNBC, I would overhaul the entire network. I would get rid of the anti-Trump people, because I guess that was popular during Biden's time, during the scamdemic and stuff like that. But those people are extinct, going the way of the dodo bird. Nobody wants to hear from them anymore. I will bring in more moderate Democrats, like a Bill Maher, a Joe Rogan. I will bring in some of those kind of people rather than extremists like Joy Reid. Now, before I go any further into it, we got some articles and whatnot. Here's a newspaper cover from New York Post, MSNBC. I like that. For this instance, MSNBC, I like that. I like to call them MS13DNC all the time, but this makes sense in this instance. Below that, it says network dumps fiery anti-Trump fixture Joy Reid in major overhaul amid flagging ratings. Like I said, ratings are bad, the money's not doing what it's supposed to do, you're out of the door, okay? The next one, this is going to be New York Times. Joy Reid's MSNBC show canceled in major shakeup. Miss Reid's 7 p.m. program will be replaced by a panel show co-hosted by Simone Sanders Townsend, Alicia Mendez, and Michael Steele. Now, this panel show might do better than hers because on the panel shows, what they get is a lot of debate. That the fiery kind of podcast like debate. So that's going to be better for clicks and views than her show. All she would do is get on there and just read from the teleprompter and bring on guests. It was a snooze fest. I mean, look, if you have a problem sleeping, you have some kind of issue, your brain just can't go to sleep, turn her show on and you be sleep like a newborn baby in the swaddle. Okay, a Goo Goo Gaga, you be sleep just like that by watching her show. Now, let's get into a few clips here, okay? This is an example of what you're going to see if, for some reason, you torture yourself and watch MSNBC. This is going to be a sample. In this clip, you're going to have Simone Sanders Townsend. She got married, that's funny. And also Michael Steele. And by the way, Michael Steele used to be the chair of the RNC, not DNC, the Republican National Committee. Things changed. I guess maybe the orange man blue-pilled him back to the Democratic plantation. I don't really know, but let's watch. And of course, this video and all others will be in the box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
What would you have us do?
I would actually, you know what? I'd just like you to show that you give a damn. That you got a little emotion about the fact that people are losing their jobs indiscriminately. That this...
The comics I just got in this package are pretty hard to come by, but I just got them for a steal. And I'm going to tell you how I did it. But now it's time to...
This individual sitting at down 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has given absolute power to one man who brings his son into the Oval Office, whose son says to him, "You're not the president. You shouldn't be in that chair." Now, where did he get that from?
Little sassy, Michael. Little sassy. All this, you're a little sassy. I need you to stand up right and keep your masculine frame. That DC sassiness is oozing out of you right now, boss.
He got it from his daddy, because that's what his daddy thinks of the man who brought him into the Oval Office. So I just like to see somebody wake the hell up and get excited.
Now, is that Alicia Mendez? Is that her right there? Y'all let me know. If that's her, that's hilarious. You gotta have the white moderator, so it's kind of like the sports shows. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit too deep. Let me stop.
About the fact that your country is under assault. They're not at the gate anymore. They're in your bedrooms. They're in your living rooms. They're in your businesses. They got your data, dumbass. They got all your stuff. Elon Musk has his tentacles in everything you're doing, not just off of X, but now he's in the Treasury Department. He's in the Labor Department. He's in the Department of Homeland Security.
So this is what you're gonna get, okay? Joy Reid got fired for this show right here, all right? Are you guys going to be watching? Let me let him finish, and then we're going to get to a few more clips. Some of Joy Reid's greatest hits.
And nobody seems to give a damn. So that's all I want, somebody to show that they care enough to get off their fat ass and say something about it.
Okay, so I think, you know what? I saw this clip kind of going viral a little bit, and my spidey senses went off. I'm like, something's afoot here. Something's afoot, because normally you don't see him act like this, and then in the beginning it was like he was already getting ready to try and go viral. So this could have been the precursor or the rollout for the new show. So people have seen this clip, and then when they see those names on the replacement, oh, okay, that'd be the same group that had this viral moment that I liked. Not me, but the normies out there who watch MS-13 DNC. So I kind of saw the game from the very beginning. That's why I never really covered that clip, even though I did see it right when it happened. Now, here is an example of what Joy Reid would do by bringing on these guests like AOC, who's got to be the dumbest person in the history of politics. But let's watch.
And we haven't even gotten to Tulsi Gabbard potentially having access to national security information. And Russia loves it, loves her.
And I actually think, almost more than Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard's appointment is devastating. And Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, as much as she says that she's an anti-war person, she's not.
This is what you're watching. And you know what? I say it all the time to the normies, please stop watching television. You're being programmed, you're being brainwashed, and you're not even really getting good content on top of that. Like, if you're going to brainwash me, can I at least enjoy it? Can I at least be entertained? Okay, you're talking about bread and circus, but the bread is still in the circus. The elephant that died right on the stage. Like, I'm not really feeling it too tough.
Yeah. She supports very pro-war individuals,
including in Syria.
And let's be very clear, a Tulsi Gabbard nomination is a pro-war nomination globally.
Okay, so there we go. That is some of the guests that she would have on. Now let's just get a little bit more from the show, and maybe we could get a little bit more context if you didn't have it. We could get a little bit more context as to why her show has been canceled, why she's been fired from the network. Check it out.
We begin our final sprint, having arrived at that point in the election season where basically we on this side of the TV screen have said all we can. We've laid out the stakes in this crucial election, where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism.
Now, they kept doing this fascism over and over and over again. They did that over and over and over again. But then at the, what was that? Jimmy Carter's funeral, you got Barack Obama smiling and hobnobbing and whatnot with President Trump. Must be the world's worst and biggest fascist, huh? If your guy, Barack Obama, is hobnobbing with him at the funeral, and then when Trump comes in, he curtails the power of government, he cuts the government, reduces the scope of the government, and gives more power to the people. Is that fascism? That appears to be the exact opposite of fascism. Part of the reason why you guys suck on mainstream media is because you continue to tell lies to the American people, thinking that we're going to buy it. Obviously, it didn't work. You threw whatever you had at them. You had all the alphabet letter organizations, your MS-13 DNC, CNN, CBS, ABC, etc., so on and so forth. Yet, you got curb stomped. I'm talking about destroyed. You lost the electoral, and it wasn't close, and the popular vote by 5 million. It wasn't even close. The things you guys are doing are not working. So if you keep doubling down on it, you're going to get more of the same. I think at this point, they just want to push the panel show to be able to get clicks and views. They're not concerned with actually changing the demographics of this nation when it comes to the elections, because they realize that they're kind of out of control. They don't really have control of that anymore. It's not up to them anymore. It's up to us, alternative media, and the people. But let me let her finish, and I'll wrap it on up with the bow on top.
Nick?
How you doing? I'm coming to you with a hot, juicy, sensual message on behalf of Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks is a prescription treatment that could be the answer. I've heard from a
family. A far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany or Franco's Spain or Mussolini's Italy, but also white-ruled South Africa before Mandela and the black majority took control, or Vladimir Putin's Russia, Viktor Orban's Hungary, or Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela today.
The scaring, the fear tactics, all of that, it just didn't work. Trying to flash these pictures of scary white men on TV, trying to make Americans do what you want them to do, it didn't work. It didn't work. The networks saw that not only did it not work, it didn't make us any money. So why continue to go down this road? Let's bring on the panel, try to have them go viral in these fake moments, and just do that. But as I close, I want to say this. As I was saying from the beginning, what you should do is bring on more moderate people. if you really want to have a successful network, if you really want to make change, positive change, then bring on more moderate people. Bringing on these weirdos, these nut jobs, those that are kind of unpleasant to look at, obviously. When you're bringing them on, you're not really going to do anything. You're just going to be losing money, and ultimately, your network will go under. That's what I hope happens. I hope these little propaganda networks just go kaput. That's what I hope. That's my dream. And seeing Joy Reid being canceled might be the first bottle drop, hopefully. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about Joy Reid being fired from MS-13 DNC? Is it about time? Should the whole network go under? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is a great day. I hope it signals the end of a lot of your mainstream media outlets and or people. That's what I hope, because they've been doing damage to this country for a long time. They're trying to do more damage, but the American people are so worn out, we're so done with it, it's just not as effective. Unfortunately, you got some normies out there that still watch this stuff, so for their sake, I want the mainstream media to completely go the way of the dodo bird and become extinct. But whatever your thoughts are, please.
Welcome once again to Leto's Law. Here's Steve Leto.
I'm not a big fan of traffic tickets, but I'm even less of a fan of a ticket issued by a machine. And I've talked about this before. So Kelvin sent me a note, says, Steve, check out this story. It's from thesun.com. Driver rages over $150 fine for school zone violation on a Sunday. Then he uncovers a link to 500,000 more in bogus tickets. Other drivers in the same neighborhood experienced a similar problem. Michael Golson wrote this. Driver was quite upset after getting hit with a $150 fine for a school zone violation on a Sunday. And just to be clear here, school is not in session. So car users across major cities in Georgia have hit out at automated citations that have led to over $500,000 in refunds since they're authorized by a law back in 2018. They've been around a while, and it turns out that occasionally they just kind of go nuts issuing tickets. In one case last year, drivers were ticketed after school hours when the reduced speed limit of 25 miles per hour is no longer in effect, resulting in wrongful citations amounting to $350,000 cumulatively and possibly more. One such driver was wrongly fined $75 for speeding at about 5 p.m. on a Friday when the school zone lights were off. So there's a speed limit sign, and it has lights, and it'll say reduce speed when flashing. Lights ain't flashing. The speed ain't supposed to be reduced, at least not as far as the limit goes. He said, I thought about what was happening that day. I remembered what I was doing, and then I thought, man, I don't remember that school zone light being on. He's not alone, as other drivers in his neighborhood had experienced the same issue. He said, I asked my neighbors, and I was shocked to find out that several neighbors also got tickets, and they were kind of unexpected for the same reasons. Another driver who was fined $125 for being ticketed twice for similar violations added, they shouldn't be raking in money from dozens of cars driving down the road when there's no light blinking. Really just seems like a way to try to bring in money rather than actually increase safety. Cameras are supposed to work during school hours with an orange light that flashes on the school zone sign saying the speed limit is 25 miles per hour. When the school day is out, the orange lights are no longer supposed to flash, while speed limit rises to 35 miles per hour. Now, I've seen school zone signs, and I know of a couple that I can think of that I drive by occasionally, where I've driven by on a weekend, and the lights are flashing as if school's in session. And it's not. But there is no ticket issuing robot attached to it. Many drivers are being ticketed while the orange lights were no longer flashing, which would issue hundreds of thousands in wrongful tickets as a result. And that's across the state of Georgia. Spokesperson for the Atlanta Public Schools, for instance, confirmed the errors, saying they were incorrectly issuing citations to drivers after hours, and that affected drivers would be refunded. But what if they hadn't gotten caught? In a recent report by Fox 5 Atlanta, investigations revealed the erroneous tickets led to over $500,000 in refunds from cities like Jonesboro, Riverdale, and Atlanta. Now people are wondering, people are now wondering whether the cameras are there to improve safety or for generating revenue. Now, I'm not making fun of the writer, okay? Michael Golson wrote this to thesun.com. But he's pointing out something that people inevitably ask about these cameras. Are they about safety or about generating revenue? Because if in fact there was a problem with people speeding through there while school was in session, and if this made people slow down, yeah, that would be contributing to safety. However, if it's just cranking out the tickets 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, well, it's probably not doing a whole lot to slow people down, but it is generating a ton of revenue. A state rep is pushing for a ban on these cameras through House Bill 225, arguing they prioritize revenue over actual safety. Now, just so you know, this state rep is going to get in a bit of hot water because the companies that put these things up make a lot of money from them. And so they're going to say, hey, we got contracts, and you know, we need payment for those contracts. But also they've got lobbying people who will come into, you know, the legislature and talk to people and say, hey, look, you know, you can't take these things down. Hey, aren't you running for re-election? How's that campaign finance thing going? Do you need any money? Just so happen to have a whole suitcase full of it here. When we see the deceit and trickery that's involved in this, the design is not for children's safety. The design is to write tickets and rake in revenue. There's no question about that. Again, that's the rep speaking. Not everyone is convinced banning the cameras is the answer, though, including the Decatur mayor, who believes removing the cameras would put a strain on local law enforcement. She said if that tool is taken away, we won't have near enough officers to be able to cover all of our school zones. A woman from the advocacy group Give School Kids a Break also raised concerns on the potential consequences of a ban. She questioned what would happen if a student were injured or killed by a speeding driver. Well, it's not that big of a question because we know about that. That's happened before. Obviously, there's laws against that, but you have to look at the two situations now and go, okay, we didn't have these ticketing robots before, and we thought we had a problem. So we've instituted them, and they appear to run amok writing tickets. Have they made anything any safer? Have they? And I'd be interested to see some kind of data on that if anybody's got it. But I also do see a group called Give School Kids a Break. I've never heard of them before, but they're an advocacy group. And I'm not saying there's anything necessarily untoward about this particular one, but I do know that once in a while, some companies and some industries who think they need some more help with their public relations will somehow see to it that groups pop up out of the grassroots groups who are suddenly advocating for things like machines that issue tickets in school zones. And so, you know, the weird part about this is that machines, generally speaking, will do what you tell them to do. And so, obviously, the machine can be told, issue tickets between this time and this time. That's not that difficult to figure out. And if it's a school zone, presumably you can tell it. Don't write tickets on Saturday. Don't write tickets on Sunday. That right there should be an easy one. And so when you see all these machines that are allegedly miscalibrated in favor of the municipality and against the drivers, ask yourself, is that really an accident? Or was somebody thinking, you know something, if we issue tickets from 7 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, or whatever it might be, if we issue tickets from here to here, we'll make a bunch of money. But if we issue them around the clock, we'll make a ton of money. Now, some people are going to go, wait, I got a ticket at 6 o'clock in the evening and school's closed and the light's not even flashing. You just tell them, oh, that was a mistake. And you dismiss the ticket. And yet when you discover there's over $500,000 in bogus tickets written, you go, okay, this is no longer just a slight technical error. It looks like they were set up to do this. And if it wasn't the bright light, as I like to say, it's the bright light, the bright light of a TV station or a newspaper shining a light on this to expose it, say, look what's happening here, people, it would just keep going. And you word would eventually get out in the community. And by the way, there's a camera down there issuing tickets like a crazy person. If you get a ticket when that light's not flashing, just you can fight it and you win. But everyone knows that a lot of these tickets get paid because people aren't paying attention, they haven't got the time, or they think I can fight something but I'm not going to win. No one wants to fight a losing battle, spend half a day in court for no reason. So I'm very skeptical when they claim it was a malfunction or a slight oversight or a mistake of some sort. It was in error. It was in error. Yeah, it was in error. But how did the device get calibrated in such a way that it's issuing tickets at all the wrong times, as well as the right times? So, it's a crazy situation. And again, I'm going to give you the old man shaking his fist at clouds thing. But when I was a little kid walking to school, we had the crossing guards with the safety patrol thing. But there weren't flashing lights on speed limit signs or anything like that.
That's my job. We're going to reestablish faith in this institution. That's my job. We're going to reestablish faith in this institution. The good people there doing their job, hitting the streets, developing sources. We'll have you back. But we are going to reestablish faith in this institution. The FBI belongs to the American people. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to anyone else but the American people. But this is the honor of a lifetime, and it's a serious mission. And I plan on implementing that vision. Folks, there are a small number of people out there in the country right now dedicated to doing really bad things. It's not the overwhelming majority of Americans are patriots that love this country and love their family, they love their jobs, they go to work every day. But there are a small number of really bad people out there who are planning on really bad things, from terrorists to narco traffickers, child sex rings, gang members. I tell you right now, I'm not going to rest easy until we find as many of you as we can. Don't sleep, no after today. But that's my mission.
Everyone's talking about the salt trick that gets men rock hard. Does it really work? Well, let me tell you about...
Oh, man, it's the most irritating commercial.
Tweets of my life that Donald Trump had announced Kash Patel, director of the FBI, had chosen as his deputy Dan Bongino. I was freaking out. The best tweet I'd ever seen. Amazing news, of course, and it's been an absolutely tremendous weekend for me and for everybody else, but let's just say wow. I'll get you started with the news first, because I don't think everything about myself, obviously. But Dan Bongino is an American patriot and hero who inspires me tremendously. And he's going to have his show live at 11 this morning. We don't know exactly what he's going to do with this show, but it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, podcast in the world. A tremendous, massive live audience. And I just want to say this. I trust Dan Bongino Secret Service agent, deeply experienced and aware of how the system is operating. His research and commentary and insight into public events and everything we've seen in the past several years not only has it been informative and important to the American people, but I think it lends him a certain degree of experience combined with his law enforcement background as well as his knowledge of these issues. I think there may be no better person for this role. I want to stress this. While we can all expect great accountability with Dan Bongino and Kash Patel at the head of the FBI, Dan Bongino has made a tremendous, tremendous personal sacrifice, which leaves me deeply inspired. American honor is back. I hope you all understand, and I'll talk a little bit more about this as we get into the live show. Dan Bongino, with the size of his audience, with the size of his show, is walking away from hundreds of millions of dollars so he can take a government job that pays a couple $100,000. I am inspired. You know, there's a lot more to life than having money and being able to buy nice things. And I think that Dan and I share some of the sentiment, as most of you do. But I believe Dan to be likely the best of us in this regard, because I don't know if I could walk away from that. I mean, you know, when they were talking about Dan maybe taking up a government position, I said, how's that guy going to walk away from tens of millions of dollars every year, plus all the back-end side contracts merged? The dude's probably making, he's on track to be a billionaire. Come on, why would he walk away from this enterprise to work for a government job if his duty mattered to him more? And I think when the president comes a knocking and says, Dan, you're the only man for the job, Dan said, there's more to life than being rich. Now, don't get me wrong, Dan's going to be rich for a long time. He's rich already, right? But to sit there and look at the power you have with a voice so large. I'm reminded of this line from Justice League. Bear with me, I know it's a cartoon, it's for kids, a comic. Lex Luthor. You know, he is Superman's nemesis. He's just a corporate businessman. But he's self-interested. There's an arc in the comics and cartoon where he runs for president. And when questioned, he says, do you actually think I want to be president? Do you have any idea how much power I would have to give up to be president? It's remarkable if you think about it. Dan Bongino wasn't just looking at wealth, success, and all that comes along with it. Dan is giving up a substantial amount of power to be a servant to this nation, and I am deeply inspired by that. So Dan, tremendous shout outs. I am so inspired and excited and optimistic. This is absolutely incredible. And of course, my friends, the deep state is panicking. They are really losing it over this one. Okay, look, when Trump announced Matt Gaetz as AG, I went out and bought champagne. I'm like, let's roll. And you know, Matt didn't make it. We then heard Kash Patel would be nominated for FBI director. And we didn't buy champagne. But Kash, he's a friend of the show, he's been on several times. And he's fairly moderate on these issues. He's not an extremist by any means. I believe he's going to bring back law enforcement accountability to the FBI. We were very, very excited for this. And when he got confirmed, we were celebrating. We were cheering. I'll celebrate something else, which I'll get to in a second. But tremendous. Tremendous. But Dan Bongino, with all due respect to Kash Patel, a lot of people have been entertaining the idea that Trump's master play was, how can I get the most brutal guy, like to the deep state, in the FBI? If Trump had nominated Dan Bongino to the FBI, there's no way he's getting confirmed. But Kash Patel, with tremendous experience, was going to squeak by. And we trust and believe in Kash. Kash then turns around and says, all right, Dan, you're up. And now it's on, baby, because Dan Bongino is the man. This is so amazing. Look, Kash is fairly moderate, and I respect him, and he wants to bring back law enforcement. Dan Bongino is a nuclear bomb on the deep state. Yo, this ain't a shot across the bow. This is Trump saying the deep state is done. Dan ain't messing around. He's already got on his Rumble page for his 11 a.m. show, it says playtime is over. So it's going to get wild, my friends. Now, all that being said, you know, I mentioned last month. It's been the best month of Trump's first month is the best month of my life. And I get all these liberals being like, what has Trump even done that's been so good? And I was like, I got married. Like, I didn't say Trump did anything. I said he's having a great month, I'm having a great month. And then as